So we've got apologies for Councillor Chapman and apologies for Councillor Strange.
Any other apologies received? No, thank you. Item 2 is to note declarations of members' interests. Does anyone have anything to declare? Perfect. Item 3, to confirm and sign the minutes of the last Marketing and Events Committee held on the 11th of September. There were 7 in attendance. Can anyone happy to approve? Second, thank you. All in favour? Perfect.
And 1 abstention.
One abstention. Yes. Thank you. Item 4, public participation. Have we received any questions? No one's present? No? Perfect. Halfway through.
Can I just, that email about active crew, that which committee? is that?
Council. It's directed at council.
Thank you.
Item 5 is to review the year-to-date financial position for the committee. Any comments? Anything to report? All look good? I'll give everyone just a minute to read.
I'm sorry, I was here last committee meeting and discussed it, but what's 460 M&E project? It just says M&E projects indirect expenditure. 460 M&E project.
M&E project.
4288 is the actual line.
So that is community events that we've funded through M&E. So things like Pride and International Women's Day and Windrush and events like that.
Thank you for that. It's
Okay.
good to know that we support those.
Yes. Okay, if there's no one else with any comments or questions, we can move on to item 6. And that's to receive an update relating to progress towards the business delivery plan and how it relates to this committee.
Okay, so since the last meeting, we have delivered an Operation Autumn event. That was delivered following a successful Operation Summer and programming of the Crew Works exhibition being delivered under budget. It was approved in the last committee meeting that some underspend could be reallocated to an Operation Autumn event. 27 separate activity sessions and events were delivered between the 21st of October and the 28th of October. All of those were really well attended, really popular. We've had some really great feedback. We're still getting some of the engagement figures back from some of them and some of the feedback. But yeah, overall, really positive. Further work has been done towards the Christmas light switch on event. So as you can imagine, the planning for that is now well underway and it's pretty much taken over. There's lots going on for that, but it's all really exciting. So we've now got a full stage programme lined up. So we've got a range of different acts throughout the day, from community dance groups, from bands to local musicians that will be performing on the main stage on Memorial Square throughout the day. We've then got some walkabout activity programmed in as well, so that'll just add to the atmosphere and bring the whole event together. On Market Square we have got Stanworth Fairground, so they're bringing some children's fairground rides, and then connecting those two areas we've got a Christmas market made up of mostly local traders and community groups, so that'll just help the areas to kind of like flow together and add a bit of extra interest and hopefully keep people in town for the whole day and increase that dwell time. We've also got a lantern parade planned for the kind of like end of the event. So the lantern parade will begin to gather about 4:30 near to the Market Hall sheds, where attendees will go to collect their lanterns that they've made, some of them throughout Operation Autumn, and they're being currently stored at the Heritage Centre, so we've got some really big beautiful feature lanterns and things that they've contributed to, and then we've also had groups of the community making lanterns in their various different community groups, whether that be faith groups, or we've had some service users from groups like CGL and Wishing Well, places like that make lanterns, so they'll be bringing them along as well. The lantern parade will then set off from the market sheds along Hill Street and into Memorial Square for the kind of finale and that switch on moment. We did have a bit of discussion last time about whether there should be a switch on time and what time it should be, and I've taken on board that advice, and we will be having a switch on time after speaking to contractors and people that have done this event lots of times before in Crewe. It was decided that that should be the end point of the event, so the switch on is going to be at 5 o'clock once it's dark, and we've got some really exciting acts planned for the stage during the build up to that moment.
Yeah, thanks for that, because my church announced and there was a bit of, why are they changing? Why are they going to change the time? Why are they just going to do switch on when nobody knows what the time is? And I said, hey, it's not been decided. You will know the time. There will be a definite time for switch off. And that's what I was afraid of last time when I said we should have a time. Otherwise, people just sort of think, oh, it's Crewe again. Because I've had a lot of earfuls about the poppies. I don't know whether anybody's been seeing the remarks on the poppies that usually hang on the huge ones on the lamp posts. Apparently in the square there's some yobs have been moved, many of them, and they were littered everywhere. So there was lots of comments, oh, the council isn't doing anything. Unfortunately, I kept thinking I'm not going to say anything, but I was forced to write something to say that's not true. Some people have been going, some of the young ones have been going there and ripping things off. So thank you for that.
So if no one's got any more comments on that. The last thing on business delivery plan was work towards bringing 4 music events to Crewe in 2024. So I have been doing more work towards that. As you can imagine, Christmas and Remembrance and other things have sort of taken over at the moment, but work is being done towards them. I'd like to propose that we consider some those events taking place between the months of April and September, so that they're in months where we're hopefully going to have better weather, although who knows.
Can I ask if the earmarked reserve strategic event and the strategic event are the same thing?
So the EMR is underspend from last year,
Okay.
whereas the strategic events budget is that's this year's budget for strategic events. So last year I think it was defined for something else, but that didn't end up happening, which is why it's in EMR.
Thank you. Anything else? No?
There's just some
So we asked, well, 4 considerations. Firstly, to make members aware of projects delivered this year. The second item is to seek approval to begin identifying 4 dates between April and September, as discussed, for the 4 music events. Item 3 is to approve advertising for expressions of interest seeking potential options for a large-scale cultural event for delivery using the strategic earmark reserve. And the 4th is to allocate £10,000 of the earmark reserve to the newly created bicentennial event. If you remember, we discussed Crew's 200th anniversary. Which year? 20...
2020,
30...
2037, wasn't it? Yeah, 2037. So it's quite a way off, so it would be kind of like legacy planning. But you know, I think if we want something to happen for that, it's really important we start thinking about that now. And if you look at similar events programs that happen in other places, you know, it is years in the planning.
14 years. Yeah. Okay, so 4 items to consider. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you. A seconder? Thank you. So all in favour of those 4 considerations?
Yeah.
Unanimous. Thank you. Item 7 is to receive an update on bringing the anti-violence B to Crewe next year, and to approve an allocation of the strategic events budget.
So there has been further work done towards bringing the anti-violence B to Crewe in May 2024. It's been reserved with British Ironworks, who were also responsible for the Knife Angel. So that's really exciting. They've said it is available, and it's penciled into their diary. And Cheshire Police and Crewe Policing team have now expressed an interest in being partners in the project. We've not finalised how that will work yet, and also Cheshire East have as well, so there's already a lot of interest there. I've done some work into looking into various costings associated with the B. It doesn't cost a huge amount to get the B to Crewe. It's not like the Knife Angel where we need cranes and road closures and all sorts in place to get it here, because it is smaller than the Angel. However, there will be costs with security and things if we're going to have it in a public space for the duration of its visit to Crewe. So that 20,000 is to cover some of the security for the B, but also some wraparound programming with the community engagement and various different things as well.
Councillor White.
I think it fits in with lots of things. So the town council is going for white ribbon accreditation, which is about reduction of male violence on women. I thought the Cheshire Police were really present for the Knife Angel, and I can see why they might be a bit reluctant, because it seems to be a lot of that, but they don't need to have such a presence for a small thing, so I wouldn't expect the same amount. But also, Irene's point about people vandalising the properties. While we've got security there, I think if you're going to have an attraction, it might be worth thinking, if we've got enough time, if there was something else that we might have on at the same time, something really small scale. Because there's lots of children's activities going on in the schools, but we might try and do something alongside it while we've got people there. Sweat the asset in it.
How big is the B, and is it mobile? Could we tour it around?
So some locations have done that. It comes on a trailer. So it's not as big as the Angel. And I know some policing teams in particular, they have toured it around whichever town or city they've hosted it in. So there is potential for that, and it's something I could ask the police about. However, it is quite good to have it in an accessible location. If we were going to do something like that, then it would probably need to be stored away overnight and things like that. And one of the nice things about having the Angel on Memorial Square was that it really brought people into town, and I think a lot of people said about how safe it made the town feel. It felt like a hive of activity, you know, because of its presence there, and the wraparound community engagement that kind of just happened organically with it being there. So I think that's something to consider with it.
I don't know how big the bee is. Is it huge?
It's not as big as the Angel, but it's a pretty big bee. So it comes on a trailer. They've not given me the exact measurements of it, but yeah, it's probably, I don't know, half the size of this room kind of scale. I think it fits in. It's pretty
Probably
big.
better in one location so that people know where it is when they want to go and see it.
Yeah.
And like Ben says, we can tie other events to it as well.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it's not as well known as the Knife Angel. So perhaps moving it around, storing it at night, will not help.
Because moving it around, we have to find out which places are the suitable places to go. And because we don't know exactly what side it's going to be, is it maneuverable easily along certain routes and so on. So I would suggest like the Knife Angel, something like that.
Stationary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor
Some people
Kay?
are going to feel left out if it doesn't come close enough to them.
Yeah.
So.
And then we get a lot of, because if you go to certain schools or certain areas without going to certain places, others are going to complain.
That's true. The other thing to consider, of course, is the fact it's the long-term idea. The idea was that this was going to be a yearly thing in one position. So we had the Knife Angel, we've got the bee, and the idea was to see if we can start generating something that we can continue on a year-by-year basis. So for it to be not in the same space would disconnect
Exactly.
that idea. So
The continuity.
yeah, the fact that we've got something there every May for people to work around, and yeah, I think that would disconnect it if we moved it.
Because we were looking at an art installation of our own to follow on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it will be continuous.
Statue of Freedom. Cruise Fourth Plinth, I like it.
Actually, what you were saying before about using the opportunity to have people there to put something else there, that could be a smaller version of what we want to try and see if we can achieve next year, to see if we can come up with something that people can work on to have aside it,
Yeah.
and therefore that allows us to continue doing something more local
Yes.
the year after.
You could do it each year as a kind of rollout, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That's what we sort of decided last time.
It was. I was just thinking what you were saying about having something aside the bee.
Yeah.
It allows it for a smooth transition.
I mean, we could, I don't know, ask people's opinions of as well. What do the public want?
Yeah.
So you could sort of have an invitation, so they see the bee, but at the same time, what would you like following on? What, you know, ideas, public ideas. Because at the end of the day, we want to achieve something that's going to be every year, but also it's meaningful to grow. And people, public are great to come up with fresh ideas.
Yeah, we could have a suggestion box
Yeah,
next to the
exactly.
bee.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So we are we agreeing now to put aside this budget?
Yeah, so we didn't agree on a budget last time, so we just agreed on further work being done towards bringing the bee to Crewe, so we now know roughly what it's going to cost.
Oh yeah, my apologies. So we're looking to approve an allocation of £20,000 from 2023-2024 strategic events budget to bring the bee to Crewe next May. So if I could please have someone propose. Thank you. Second? Perfect. And all in favour of that allocation? Unanimous again. Thank you very much. Item 9, to receive an update on recommendation for UK Shared Prosperity funding for Crewe Town Centre Arts Development and Trail.
Have we missed item 8?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Soapbox.
Chair?
Sorry?
Soapbox derby is.
Soapbox.
Yes, my apologies. We'll go back to item 8 first, to consider bringing a soapbox derby to Crewe in 2024.
So we have been approached by an organisation called Crazy Racers, who have a proven track record of delivering successful soapbox derbies in towns throughout the UK. And they've approached us to ask for sponsorship of the event. Now, this is kind of we get quite a lot of these opportunities coming forward from time to time, but this is something that has really stood out as something that would fit as a strategic event, because it fits with the cultural strategy, it fits with the event strategy and the corporate strategy and lots of other things going on. The date that I would like to propose for it is is July 2024, as close as we can get to Crewe Day. So it would be a good link to that, a good celebratory event. And obviously it's got good links with Crewe's heritage and history and its links to engineering. For anyone who doesn't know, a soapbox derby involves teams entering their soapboxes into a race. They build the soapboxes and then lots of different companies get the opportunity to kind of sponsor their soapboxes and their teams, and there's wraparound sort of festival style events with like STEM activity and things like that, which would again link to engineering, which is a good link to the various strategies.
Any questions?
Where are they based? Are they based in Crewe?
They're not based in Crewe, no. So I believe they're actually from down south somewhere, but they've delivered the soapbox derbies in towns like Northwich, and it's been really successful there. On an event day there, it's increased footfall by 116% on a race day compared to the same day the week prior. So.
And do we know whether they've sent somebody to Crewe to see what Crewe is like? Because what goes for Northwich and Sandbach and other places may not go for Crewe.
So although
Sorry, I don't want to be spoiled.
No, of course, yeah. So although the company aren't based in Crewe, their sort of main guy, Danny, he is based in Crewe, he lives in Crewe, so he's got kind of an invested interest to bring it to Crewe, and before even reaching out to us, has considered various locations and businesses that could get on board with it. So he's already in touch with organisations like Mornflake and Crewe Alex and other companies within the town. So I feel like they've got a really, really positive attitude towards making it work for Crewe.
If Flag Lane is, and I agree, I think Flag Lane is a really good venue for it, Steve still goes flat at the bottom, but if Flag Lane Bars is likely to still be a building site at that point, I'm just thinking if it would be lovely to have it when it was open, because then you'd have all the facilities like toilets and stuff on site. And also you're bringing a lot of people down there when it's still a building site. I'd be a little bit cautious. If Flag Lane was, something. Yeah, if the new community centre will be open by then, fantastic. What a great thing to remind people that it's going to be there. It'd be wonderful to break things down there. And the other thing, sort of linked, there was a national scrap car spraying celebration that happens at Houston Scrapyard near to there. It's never widely advertised, but that would be something that could be linked into that, because it's the same.
Absolutely, there's loads of different links with it. I mean, Flag Lane that was just a location that sprung to my mind, but there's plenty of other suitable locations within the town. So, you know, it could be anywhere where there's a slight hill, basically.
Broad Street.
You know, so it's open to discussion, and obviously it would need to be the location that would work best operationally. I think, you know, you're right, if the Flag Lane Community Centre was up and running by then, it would be ideal, especially with the adventure playground that's being developed just over the bridge as well. There's lots of potential for community engagement through the event there, especially when you think about the audiences that event is going to pull in, particularly audiences such as the students that use facilities like the UTC, that have got an interest in engineering. There's lots of opportunity to engage with that audience, and you know, they are often that sort of 16 to sort of 24 audience, or an audience that we don't manage to capture all the time. So.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
I just think if we're looking to bring footfall into the town, the venue's got to be in town. And for me it would be Victoria Street, because that's on the hill. It's got very high pavements, it's safe, it's pedestrianised, and it runs onto a pedestrianised area. You know, wherever the site we choose, it has to be in the town centre, because otherwise we're not going to get the footfall in the town centre. So I think, you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously you'll think about it and talk to them about it, but to me the obvious place is Victoria Street, because it is a hill.
So we've been approached to sponsor the event for 30,000.
Yes.
Have they provided the breakdown of what that would cover?
Yeah, so that would literally cover everything. So they would the fantastic thing about this event as a concept is they would look after all of the event management, and we're kind of at a point where we're at capacity in terms of what we can deliver. So this is an opportunity to add even more value to the events programme throughout the year. Obviously it would still take up officer time in you know, managing the relationship with Crazy Races, but they would do all of the legwork in terms of getting event permissions, getting the road closures. They do all the marketing, you know, working closely with us to make sure that you know, our branding was all over it and things. We'd also work with them with the community and business engagement. So you know, we could put them in touch with organisations and things that we felt need to be represented in the event.
Have they approached other organisations for sponsorship, or would we be the primary?
We would be the primary sponsor. They only work with town councils and bids, and as we've not got a bid up and running just yet, obviously we're kind of the prime candidate for that. But you know, there is potential that in future years maybe they could work with the bid, and also it's a really nice lead into that, and has some really nice links with that as well.
Councillor Rhodes.
For me, it's I know they've done this before, so being to health and safety, but if we want people to build these soapboxes and enter, then there's going to be some community encouragement. So do they do that as well? And then do they check the soapboxes to make sure that they're safe?
Yeah, they check them all on the day. They've got a really specific insurance coverage, because that was one of my questions for them, was health and safety. So they only let over 18s race. Their insurance policy is really robust, and actually it's really difficult to get that insurance cover that they have got, and they've got it because they do work in such a safe way, but a lot of organisations would struggle to get that, so there's not really anybody else that operates in this way.
Can I come back then, because if it's only over 18s, the UTC finishes when people are 18, you're cutting out anybody from the school racing. So maybe the children make it and an adult drives
Yeah,
it.
so
That's
that's how it
an idea.
would work.
Is
Yeah,
that how
so
it will work? Right?
yeah, so a team can be made up of people of any age, but it's the actual racer, the person in the car has to be over 18 for safety reasons.
Are the cars going to be like go-karts?
Yeah,
Oh.
So there's no pedals and no engine, it's just gravity.
absolutely.
So I think Jill's point is a good one. We do want to bring people into the town, but as someone who relies on gravity to travel around most of the time,
Victoria doesn't work, does it?
no,
It doesn't
it's
work.
not steep enough.
Not speaking. It's got to be somewhere in town, hasn't it? I mean, my first reaction was to close off the dual carriageway
Vernon Way.
by the Crown Hotel. But then that, I think, would cause quite bad problems in the town. Or the bit that goes down from St Paul's down to the bottom.
To the cemetery, which would be handy.
Yes,
Just in case.
No, I wasn't talking about that bit going down to the cemetery. I was talking a bit about the bit that goes past the UTC.
And actually, if you want the best place, why don't you come to Ford? Why can't they come to Ford Lane?
I don't think it's been wide enough, Irene.
Well,
Steep enough.
very, very steep.
very steep.
Very steep.
I know
Tell
the
the
Go
boss
from
that.
Badger Avenue, going up to the church,
Oh,
and from there
Sorry.
coming down, you need a good break to stop on Badger Avenue. But like she said, I don't know whether it's wide enough.
I'll volunteer to do a study and time myself. How long it takes, which is because it's not just the steepness, it's the gradualness of it.
And we'll all meet you at the cemetery.
Clark, please.
If I may, Chair, I apologise if I've got this wrong. It seems that members are positive about the principle and the concept, and the positive opportunity for engagement and its relevance to engineering and all that sort of thing. Perhaps any consideration might be associated with supporting the principle and the cost, but subject to details
Further
of
information.
considerations of options of locations and any other operational details and confirmation of due diligence we can draw from them.
Have they asked for a time that we reply? And I know we don't meet until after Christmas.
So it is one of them opportunities that kind of if we don't sort of act on it pretty soon, then it will be gone. They only work with several towns a year, and they only do one event a month, and what they tend to do is stay in each town that they work with for 2 years consecutively, because they find that that's how they get the best engagement in the event, and then they'll sort of alternate with another town then for 2 years, and then potentially come back in locations that want it again.
Right.
So,
As the person responsible for deviating it off the principle, I'm happy to propose it.
Okay, so we got a proposer. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor. All in favour of allocating 30,000 with upon further information, of course, as discussed.
Yeah.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Now we can go to item 9. It's to receive an update on recommendations for UK Shared Prosperity funding for Crewe Town Centre Arts Development and Trail.
So in July, we submitted an expression of interest to the UK Shared Prosperity Fund for £90,000 to fund a Crewe Town Centre Arts Development person and art trail project. So this would include a person that would deliver the project and the trail, and they would work with the community to develop this trail while helping the community to foster best practices working in arts, culture and events, and developing skills and while breaking down sort of any barriers that there currently are to that cultural delivery from the community. The project has been recommended. We've not had an official offer yet, but we're just putting it on your radar that it has been it has been recommended, and we'll hopefully hear more in the next few weeks. Due to the committee dates, we may need to approach Finance and Governance Committee for decisions about the project moving forward, just because it is quite a tight time frame. So the project has to be delivered by March 2025, and there's elements of it that will need to be delivered by March 2024. So that kind of initial engagement, getting the project rolling, will be happening as soon as we get that official offer.
Could I suggest that rather than, if it's very tight timescales, that we delegate the permission to accept the amount, the funding to the chair, vice chair and clerk?
If I may, the F&G committee has already resolved to accept the funding, so that's okay, we can accept the funding. The next step from here is the officer is asking for our match funding commitment. This £90,000 is only £2,000, which is the recommendation of this committee to put that forward. The only next governance step associated with this is the UK SPF grants themselves will be put in front of council to approve them in their structure and spend. So there's no other barriers to delivering
Right, so
that.
it's not that, so that's covered. That's
Yeah, that's it. It has to be delivered as per the grant applications, which were created, I'm sorry to say, relatively rushed because we had a very small window as notified by the funders. We put 3 applications in, 2 were successful, we're very pleased with that, but unfortunately when we're rushed to apply they never seem to feel rushed to make decisions and hand over the money. So now our buffer of time has elapsed really, so we're heading to the delivery time pretty much now.
Okay, any further comments, questions? Okay, so we are asked to approve match funding of £2,000 from the 23-24 strategic events budget. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 10 is the committee's budget setting for 2024-25.
So there's no changes to the budget for 24-25 since the last meeting. I've just included it so that you can all see it again and obviously give any feedback and comments.
Councillor Rhodes.
Personally, I'm happy with what's on here, but I noticed that we've got this UK funding for an arts trail, but from my perspective, and I may be just blinking, the actual public art around the town is pretty limited. In fact, it's pretty limited across Cheshire East, but I'm concerned with Crewe. And I've seen in some of the other places, I think in Macclesfield, they've got a really good drawing, painting on the end of a terrace, right by the bus station where people see it.
Yes.
And I think that, I mean, I don't know how much that costs, I don't know what you have to do to get one, but I just think that it's something we should be looking at as a committee, that we should be looking to provide some public work of art. I know in Chester they've got the green BT Telecom boxes. They've all been painted with flowers or whatever else. They've obviously commissioned an artist or they've entered a competition. I don't know quite how it was done, but they now have a painting on them. And for me, that is what we should be looking at. And whether it would fit within this budget or whether we would need an increase in budget, I don't know, but we should be actively looking to put some public art. You know, I think for me it summed it all up when we saw that forged by hand on the bus station, and it wasn't my choice of a design, but it really pointed out to me how little public art we actually have. And I think, you know, so I would like to, for consideration maybe at the next committee, to think about if we could have some funding to put some relevant public art.
Chair, I just want to ask, do we have a lead, or are we going to have a lead, somebody who is quite artistic? I say that I'm thinking of Mr. Jukes. I don't know how many of you know him. It's someone that we can probably enlist his help and ask his ideas, because I remember the children did that thing in train station that was removed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you remembered,
Yeah.
and he was among the contributors. So we could seek him. He should be able, and he loves crew, that I'm sure of. He should be able to tell us what we can do and how to make, because Crew Town is not like many other towns actually. Because like in Macclesfield, that particular place they use, I've been looking at Crew and I don't see I can't pinpoint a place. Since we took that dreadful archway in Queensway off, there isn't anyway. Yeah, you know, there was some painting and things.
The tunnel from the bus
Yeah,
station.
you know that tunnel didn't buzz before, yes. So I don't know. Sorry, Chair, I'm just
No, no,
thinking
who-
about
What was the person's name, sorry?
David Jukes.
David Jukes.
He went to the Slade, so it's highly qualified.
Yeah.
I have his.
I'm already in touch with David, but he's exactly the type of person that the arts development person will engage with and work with to develop public arts.
Clark?
Building on Councillor Rhodes' point, I have investigated this gable end. The issue of developing murals is permissions. So first of all, the property owner must want their gable end painted in a particular way that you agree to do. And if you're the funder, you want it done one way, and the owner may want it done another way, and finding that overlap in the Venn diagram can be a challenge at times. We have a very big gable end here, which will be overlooking the southern gateway, as it's ambitiously called. And I wonder, I've investigated already with planning, and it doesn't technically require planning consent as long as it's not advertised and the content is appropriate and all that sort of thing. There's no content yet, not made any sketches off the back of a backpack or anything. So no planning consent required, no ownership consent required other than our own consents. There would be a necessary engagement process and make sure that any designs are consulted and come up with totally representative of what people perceive would be right for Crew. So that's a deliverable, and I would suggest that we have, as a council, significant reserves. You're welcome to revenue budget for it, but I would suggest that would be a project that, as you propose, should be defined out further for a future meeting of this committee, and then we work out how much it might cost, and then we ask council to make those funds available from reserves, and that project is a commissioning delivery process then. I think it's entirely achievable for this council. I think members have expressed many times about interest in having more space in a town for publicly accessible art. The Forged in Crew sign is divisive, but it's impactful. That's for absolute fact. Irrespective of its choice or not choice, it does add value in the sense of it creates presence and a sense of place. And so more of that I thoroughly recommend to you, and it's great that members brought forward and it doesn't come from offices. So I think we can deliver lots of that. I think we have the capacity financially, and if we're willing to progress further and invest a bit more time in exploring this gable end as the first option, I think it's a far more deliverable option than trying to find one and then engage with private owners and then get maintenance, maintenance agreements and things like that.
It sets a precedent. It might encourage other people to allow their properties to be part of it.
And even better, the boulevard walkway that's going to connect the town centre to Mill Street will be built around the same time, so that will have maximum impact. It won't be just be looking at the back of an old yard, it will be the gateway to Crewe.
It will, that's right.
No, it sounds great.
Yeah.
We're casting it.
But I think High Street needs a touch.
It's Gary Betty's High Street.
High Street?
It is, yeah, there's investment in High Street right now.
Until we can get Tesco to do something with that vacant plot there. I had a lot of problem with them asking me to do something. So they just went and fenced it around and cleared the grass. But a year later ago, I don't know why they don't want to sell it off or do something with it. So maybe we can ask them, if you don't want it, then we're
Are we talking about the space on High Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be part of the Southern Gateway, and so it's already been CPO compulsory purchased by Cheshire East for delivery into that project, so it will be used.
No, thank you for
Okay.
raising that. And I've seen the artwork you referred to in Macclesfield. It stands out. It's obviously a memorial for the musician from Joy Division, who was from Macclesfield. So very personal to the town as well.
But they've also got other ones. I think there's 3 or 4.
Snow Goose, the railway station's got the local artist like Reddens on it or something, and the Welcome Water station as well. I think there might be one other. I can't remember.
Yeah, there is another one that's
Yeah.
on like a skyscraper building. Tall building.
Right, go back.
Liverpool's got a lot, haven't they? They have.
Yeah, I lived in
Yeah.
Buenos Aires, and there you didn't need permission.
No.
And the graffiti artists,
That's
street
right.
artists flocked to the city, and it was beautiful.
Buenos Aires, yeah.
And you could have a guided tour,
That's
a
right.
walking tour. It was fantastic. Yeah, so I'd love to see some more.
I lived in Malaga and that was the same.
Mm.
It's encouraged. Yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah, it does.
As we move towards Buenos Crew,
Malaga.
I would draw us back, Chair, if I may, to that agenda item is for this committee's recommendation to finance and governance and then onward to council for this committee's budget. So I would seek a resolution to
Yes,
recommend that budget forward or amend it as you see fit.
I think it's fantastic that it's the same as last year. No increase, and no demand for additional funds for this committee. So I think it's very good.
Is it enough if we're going to do the art projects then?
I would recommend to you that there is significant reserves, and as it isn't a project necessarily because there's a bit more work to be done on it, I would think it'd be unfair to set up a revenue addition to that, and then impact the whole council budget accordingly. It's your decision. You can add it if you like, but I don't think we have quite the information, and we do have reserves available.
Good.
Okay. So is everyone happy with
Yeah.
what's presented?
Yeah.
It's a
Perfect.
Nice detail, please.
Thank you.
I think there's a bit of caveat here about the last consideration. So all increases in cost will impact on the level of precepts required and the potential increases that might lead to council taxpayers improve.
Yes.
But there's no increase in
So
the
then I don't have any.
well, there's no increase in the committee budget, so that's not impacted anywhere else.
No, that's the good news.
Okay, we can move on to item 11. Social media and communications updates.
Just for noting, Chair.
So due to the date of this meeting and various holidays and things, we've only got the September overview included, but there is now an October one, which is just as positive. So as you can see, as requested in previous meetings, we've got the number of posts that went out during the month of September. So there was 81 posts that went out, 124 new followers, a reach of over 54,000 people, and you've also got the number of likes, comments, link clicks that lead through to the website and things there as well. So the comments and likes, etc., they did decrease, but that may be because of what projects were happening and kind of what we were posting about during that month. So I don't think that's anything to be concerned about.
It followed Operation Summer, which was a very busy time.
Yes.
Okay, any comments, questions? No?
don't seem to have many Instagram users. But mind you, I think it's a certain age group. Though sometimes I go on Instagram, but I never usually put anything apart from that because I wonder how we can increase the young viewers.
Yeah, so Instagram is a bit lower than Facebook, but I think that's mostly about picking who our audience is and how they're choosing to engage with us. I think Facebook can be used to give more information than Instagram can, which is often why people choose to engage with us in that.
Yeah. I understand Instagram is just photos.
It is, yeah, basically, yeah, it's just visual content.
Can't put
It
it
is. No.
Okay. Item 12 is a members item. What was that mistake?
Yes, sorry.
Sorry, forgive me. So the last item, item 13, is to note the proposed dates for the next meeting, which is Tuesday the 30th of January.